welcome in. Welcome to episode 2 of The Discordant Note. I am Alex. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm going to be your storyteller for today. I am going to popcorn to introduce you to my beautiful cast, and then we will get right into it. So I will start with Satinius. Please let us know who you are.
Hey everyone, I'm Satine Bonnet. Pronouns my name, and they pronouns are okay. And I'll be playing Luma the Frail, Wonderborn Fungal Druid, and I'm going to send it over to RJ.
Hi, I'm RJ from TV, pronouns they, she, and I'm going to be playing our wonderful Whisper, pronouns he, him, our Seaborn Fairy Sorcerer, and I'm going to popcorn it over to Sweet.
Hello, I am Sweet Coat, she, her. I will be playing your Wildborn Fawn Wizard, almost said sorcerer, wizard. And I am going to popcorn over to Ava.
Hello, my darlings and dears. It's your Madam Ava here. I play Zalima Camus, the floor-born furball seraph. We both use she, her pronouns. And back over to Alex. I remembered.
Nice, nice. Okay, so let's recall a little bit what happened last session. You guys joined the spiritual cavalcade heading toward the Hall of Resonance. You met Harmony and Brio. The Harmony, you met the maestro, the keeper of the symphony. You noticed that there was lightning and thunder. The sky went red and there is rain. And you learned, or hypothesized rather, Whisper did, that Brio is the cause of all of this, having broken the scale. And after meeting with Crescendo, the four of you took on a journey with a beatboxing fawn, the keeper of the dance floor, Cadence. And you guys headed out to explore the wilds of Elysium so that you could find the broken pieces of the scale. And we rejoin you now on that journey. Cadence is still beatboxing, much to Zalima's dismay. And I have to say, the Cadence honestly seems to be quite uncomfortable with the disharmony, but he's trying to remain upbeat. And so there are moments where the beatboxing is a little more hesitant, or goes off into strange places. But he's continuing to beatbox and throwing his little fawn ass in a circle. Oops. Uh, for his own sake. And as you guys walk down one of the paths behind the Hall of Resonance, you are seemingly heading into the horizon. What would you all like to do?
Whisper is just beatboxing as well at this point.
I would like to, I'm assuming, quicken my pace to walk kind of near uh, Luma, and I want to kind of like lean over and look at them as they were walking, and I'd like to use telepathy.
Ooh, that's cool. Go for that.
I'm definitely going to lean away from you because I'm obviously still trying to not to make eye contact with you at all.
I'm trying to make sure I'm trying to see if I have to roll for this one. I think it's something I don't have to roll for.
Let me double check. I think you might just be able to do that.
Yeah, I think I can just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm just gonna simply ask, why did Calypso call you Luma?
Can I respond to this at all, or I'm?
It says you open a line of mental communication with one target you can see, so I would assume that means you can respond.
First, they look kind of startled because they heard another voice and they're hearing your voice. So they're like, is this internally I'm having two voices at the same time? Why is Zendaya's voice in my head too? And I answer out loud because first, what do you mean? I am Luma.
I'm gonna be kind of startled, and I'm just gonna be like, "You're not Luma." Well, I guess other people can have other people's names. I guess it's fair to say that you can share the same name.
Other people is other people. Luma, as I am, is Luma. And
So
this is the
that
first time they look at you and they look confused.
you don't you said my name, and I don't know you. I know that name.
You don't know your name?
I
I'm
know
confused.
the name Luma,
Uh-huh.
but your face doesn't match the Luma I know. So I was trying to figure out if it's possible that you are the same Luma.
Luma kind of like is taken aback at this moment, like at the idea that they're not the same Luma. They know they're in another body, but they think they think this is the only version of themselves. So they're like they're saying to you, is there another me? I'm confused.
I think only you would know the answer to that. Um,
Luma, go ahead and
Hmm.
give me an instinct roll, please.
Oh god. Okay.
+2.
Okay.
And make sure y'all are keeping track of your hope as well.
Okay. Oh, okay. It almost did it. 23 with hope.
20 what now?
23 with hope.
23 with hope. Okay, take your hope. Um,
I'll be using that.
so what you get from the telepathic communication, you do still hear Zadiah's voice in your mind as you're speaking, but you hear that second voice go, "Oh, don't be shy. Go ahead and let her know who you are."
Luma finally says, so no one else is talking to me, so it's within me. Who are you?
question. Could I hear the other voice
Yeah.
in her head as well?
I'm talking out loud in my head.
Right, but I'm still
Yeah.
communicating
You are still
telepathically.
communicating.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Yes, you can. That would make sense to me.
Okay, so I just respond back. You seem to have a lot going on in there. Um, yes. I not sure if I know you. This is a little different.
Weird. But Luma says finally, like they kind of resign, but I do remember you, Zendaya. But I don't remember who this is in my mind. This is new. And I think with relating to their past or what happened to them, they're already dawning on it, like thinking that, oh wow, this maybe is the Shimmer and Rot taking over. And they are kind of hesitant to say, is this my form of punishment? Is this my personal hell that I have to live with this forever?
Well,
You hear the voice in your mind go, "Personal hell? Am I personal hell? Is that what you're saying? Me?
Yes, that's
No.
you. Having a conversation with myself. Yes, you. And they kind of takes a moment. I failed. But who are you? You sound familiar. Yet I don't know you.
Hmm. The voice in your mind becomes contemplative for a moment, then says, I am you. I am a piece of you at the very least. And for better or worse, I don't think I'm going anywhere anytime soon.
So this is
And
definitely worse.
the voice in your mind gives a small chuckle at that. And you put out a like tracking situation last time heading toward Oya.
Yeah.
I want to note that one of the things you notice in the mycelial tendrils that are heading toward this goddess, what you see on the ground, on the plateaus and on the mesa, between the plateaus and the mesas on the ground before you, you see pieces, very strange little pieces as you get closer and closer to the goddess of the shimmering rot. You begin to see it on the ground. And it's sporadic at first. It's not there like overwhelmingly so, but there are traces of it here as you continue.
So does that come off on my body when the
No,
shimmering
they are
rot
completely separate from your body.
okay.
They are there naturally.
Okay. I think I feel it or do I see it?
Both.
Okay. And what does it sound like, Alex?
What does the shimmering rot sound like?
Yes, what does it sound like?
You hear what it sounds like to you
Mhm.
is like the voice in your mind, except cranked up and thrown through a reverb filter. So it's like echoing. You hear the overwhelming expansion of your mind. And for a moment, you see flashes of you taking a step into the nexus of this rot. You see flashes of that just for a moment. And the voice in your mind goes, you see, part of you. Or maybe you're part of me, or
Mhm.
we're part of each
Part of
other.
each
Who
other?
knows?
I was waiting for that, Alex. Um,
Good instincts. Good
good
instincts.
instinct. Definitely. Well, I was gonna say my other character, Luma, looks towards the shimmering rod and is still kind of confused, but not off, not off put. Like it's not off putting, but there is. I remember in the last session we were talking about certain type of music. Luma doesn't know like the high, I think, royalty kind of level, but there's like a hum that they remember through the connection to their people. It's kind of how for Luma, how they originally heard it was of a deep D on the cello. And now it's two entwining. So it could be the G and the D on a cello together of two people. And that confused them too.
So it's you don't hear that voice again, but you know it's there, resting at the back of your mind, lying dormant for all intents and purposes. And as you continue forward, you hear Cadence say, as he gives you like a wary kind of smile, he says, so I've got an idea of where to go. I, at the very least, know who we should be talking to. It's really hidden and kind of hard to find, though. I've only been there once, and it was pure happenstance that I found it to begin with. So it'll probably require some patience to find. And he begins to explain that the symphony has a twin. There is the eternal symphony, which all of the spirits of Elysium can hear. And then there is something made specifically to honor the gods. So, what he is referring to is something called the choir. And he says, we can probably find them in the chantry. It might be a good idea for us to head there. I'm sure the director can put us in touch with the goddess, and we can probably get some answers. How's that?
The Diet's gonna pull out the map and hold it up and say, "Is it possible for you to?" You say you've only been there once, but you know, are you able to show us on the map where it could be?
Cadence like peers down at the map, and you see on the map, you see like swirling clouds almost of different places to go. So there are mesas and plateaus and buttes all up and through this map. They stick up 3D and they shift and they move and they turn in this endless dance. And the ground below you, golden copper soil, you see a canopy. As you move forward, you see the canopy of a tree, massive canopy. I'm talking hundreds, thousands of acres wide, ridiculously huge. And that is what you see from the top, because the map gives you like a bird's eye view of things. And you see only a flash of this canopy. It only stays in one place for but a moment. But you see Cadence immediately perks up a little, his ears perk up a skosh, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, there it is, right there, the chantry."
Is it possible to mark, or is it just gone?
It's gone. This is like trying to map out fairy. You know what I mean? Like this nothing has a static position. Even the map itself is not static.
Okay.
It shows flashes and like orbits of things.
Okay. About how long do you think it'd take us to get there?
Cadence kind of, I don't know. The last time I went there, it took me a couple of days, but I've heard of people going there and it taking a few minutes. I guess it depends on where you're starting from.
Okay. I suppose, being if everyone is in agreement, you're the only one that's been. I think you should lead the way.
Can do. And you see he like takes a jaunty sort of step forward, and he's like bopping his way towards like forward.
He's a treat.
Um, can I? I know they're going that direction. Can I
Mm.
try to do nature's tongue and talk to like any kind of wildlife or trees or flowers or something to ask for the directions? Because I don't know if we're gonna get there.
Well, you can make an instinct roll. I will
Mm,
note the reason why the canopy of that tree is like
mm.
so singular and spectacular is because there aren't trees here. You
Oh,
are, for
okay.
all intents and purposes, in a desert. Um,
Oh, okay.
that's where the mesas and the buttes and the plateaus are coming from. They're really tall
Okay.
rock formations. So you can absolutely see, like, roll your instinct and see if you can happen across any wildlife or flora or fauna here.
Okay, because I had to make a if I was gonna do nature tongue, I have to make an instant roll of 12.
Hmm.
Let's see. So should I okay, let's just do my instant roll. So it's
Hmm.
3 plus.
And add your +2 for survivalist, please.
All
Or
right.
botany, either way.
Okay, I got a 25 with hope.
A 25 with hope. Perfect. Take your hope. So what you hear, what are you, let's see, what are you asking the nature around you? Minimal though it may be, what are you asking?
I'm asking. I kind of like. I think Luma crouches down a little bit, like crouches down and put their head to the ground as
Mhm.
best as they could do it.
Yeah.
They look like an actual mushroom from out of the ground,
Mhm.
and says, "Little one, please direct me to I need to ask a question. Where is the choir tree?"
Oh. You hear, as you mentioned, like that deep D or a deep G, like that the beginnings of a chord. You hear that harmonic sound, and the nature that you are hearing is from your mycelium. It's coming from your mycelium in specific, and you hear very far off, very distant, the sounds of, like, it's almost like it is like a choir. It's like a choir. You hear a chord in voice, and it is unlike anything you've ever heard before, but also very familiar to you because this is coming through the mycelial connection. So it's not music per se, but it's musical in nature. It's music adjacent, something like that. And that's what you hear. You hear not words, but feel like a pull in a specific direction. And it is the direction that Cadence is heading, bopping his way through the desert. And that is the way that he's going. He's following your mycelial path, even though he's not paying attention to it whatsoever.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So I say to the group, do we still have our connection, Zendaya, in our minds together? Are we mind melds together? You're muted.
And I was muted saying so. You're muted, baby.
Okay, my bad. I never turned it off, but she did feel like she was invading a personal conversation.
You heard us say together.
Yeah, I was like, interesting. This is for knowledge purposes.
The knowledge, yes. I say to everyone that I double checked and we are going the right direction, so we could follow them.
I can always appreciate a double checking.
Yeah, I was concerned.
I'm
Very
still
concerned.
concerned.
I think Luma actually laughs at that and says, "We have to go, I guess." And follows after them. I could actually transform into something to go faster, but for now, I think I'm gonna just walk.
Mm. So, as the four of you follow the mycelial path in Luma's case, and also Cadence's beatboxing and two-stepping, for some reason he's on beat, kind of, but it's probably just because he's the DJ. Who knows? He like speaks in spurts as you guys continue this journey. It takes you a while, and he explains, well, the choir works with the gods, they're, divine in origin, not like the spirits. The spirits are concerned with the symphony. That's what I'm concerned with. And, continues. And he says, you can find all kinds of people in the choir. There are worshippers of Oya, worshippers of Obatala, worshippers of the Orunmila, all kinds of people. It's really cool. And the beatboxing continues.
As all of this yapping is happening, Whisper kind of falls back. He's flying, but in a way that's really obnoxious, like he's pretending to walk. But he's flying high enough to make him the same height as Halima. And he'll kind of fall back to walk next to Halima, arms behind his back, but he won't say anything. He's just walking.
Mm.
I want to ask Cadence. So you said you've been to the choir one time before. Is the journey a safe one?
Oh, sure. It was during the before times, and you see he goes, "Ooh," and he's talking, like before the scale was broken.
Like
And
15 minutes ago?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he gives a small chuckle at that, says, "It was pure happenstance that I happened to find it. I was trying to extend the dance floor, and I guess the chantry sort of made its way closer. But it took a while for me to get there."
Mm, okay. Fair enough. If you say it's safe, then I guess it's safe.
Mm.
Mm.
Would you like to double check?
Mm.
Is there something wrong? Are the conditions not to your liking, Your Highness? Is there something we should do for you?
First of all, don't call me that. Second of all, no, but this is taking into account that this happened in the before times. I still don't trust that we should let our guard down.
And Cadence
And
gives
she's gonna
like,
just start
"I wouldn't."
walking faster.
He keeps pace.
Moo.
So you guys continue on this journey down this path, sort of being serenaded by Cadence's ministrations, him trying to keep the mood light. And he continues, it takes a while for you guys to get to where you're going, but not days. It doesn't feel as though days have passed yet. Time is a little strange in Elysium, and so is distance. And for a moment, it feels as though you're not going anywhere. But you, Luma, you notice that the mycelium on the ground is beginning to interweave itself with the pieces of the shimmering rot that you're seeing, which are becoming more and more plentiful. And as you head down this pathway, head down this road, wherever it is you happen to be going, as you continue forward, you begin to see the canopy of this tree, and it is mountainous. It's so big, it looks like a part of the landscape. It looks as though you're looking at a painting, but it's huge, and it's there, and it's a huge like banyan tree. And you see Cadence goes, "Ah, right, there it is, found it." And he says, "This is the chantry." You get it? Chant tree. Ha 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 ha. And he gives a hearty chuckle at that.
The heavy side, the collective heavy side is happening right now.
I named it that specifically for this reaction.
Whisper loves this. He's cackling. All right, so do we climb it? What do we do with this?
Cadence actually considers this, strokes his goatee a little bit, and he goes, "Huh, climbing it never occurred to me. I just kind of walked in." And you guys are getting close enough to see the trunk of this banyan tree. And what you see is it's like twisting white tendrils of bark thicker than your bodies, all of your bodies, by an order of magnitude. And they sort of twist and spire up in a beautiful pattern, creating the trunk of this massive tree. and you see in the bark like a little archway almost naturally formed as though it was tied together and the tree grew up together as one. And you see this archway big enough for all of you to go through comfortably, but not necessarily visible from the distance that you guys were coming from. So what you saw first was the canopy. And as you got closer and closer, in the rain, mind you, as you got closer and closer, you begin to see this canopy blocking out the sky, blocking it out so you can't see anything but the leaves. You can't see the streaks of lightning. You can barely hear the thunder, and you surely can't feel the rain anymore. All you see above you is green, leaves and verdancy, lush life. And you see lightning shooting overhead, but it's lost in the boughs of the banyan tree. And as you guys approach, give me let me look at a character sheet. Hold on. Give me an instinct roll as a unit.
Would well read be considered for this role?
Let me take a peek here.
23 critical success.
23 critical success. Beautiful.
Oh,
Yes, actually, Zalima, this would be perfect. Go ahead and do that with advantage, please.
I've got a 7 critical
23.
success.
A 7 critical success. Beautiful. And what'd you get? What'd you get, Whisper?
23 with fear.
23 with fear. Okay.
11 with hope.
11 with hope. Okay. All of you guys take your hope for my critical successes. Be sure to clear stress. You guys don't have any. It's fine. Just, and a 23 with fear. So all of you hear this, but Whisper, you hear something else, and I need you. Let me see what this is. Let me look at your character sheet. One moment, please.
Do we hear like
Yes. You do hear something like an angelic chorus, but it is not harmonious necessarily. Some parts of it are disjointed and sound strange, alien, in a way that is foreign even to you, Luma. You guys hear sort of spurts of conversation, little bits of laughter as you get closer, and you hear a lone note on a cello. Uh you hear a lone like person playing a single cello. And you guys, how do you approach? Let me ask you that. If you approach, how would you like to proceed?
I'm approaching from the rear for sure, very
Mm,
cautious.
mm,
I'm small, and
mhm.
I'm just like, I'm looking to see if we see anyone specifically. Do we just hear the voices? Do we see a choir?
You hear them coming from inside of the banyan tree,
Okay.
but you don't
Okay.
see anyone outside. No.
Okay. So I'm heading inside though,
Mm,
but just cautious.
okay, got you.
I think Luma is I think they're just walking this with cadence. They were just like walking in.
Mm.
They hear the disjointed of it, but
Oh, baby, you
um
say it again.
I was saying I was trying to get I heard Caden say, "Oh, we could just walk in there," and I'm like, "All right, let's just walk in there." That That's Luma right now.
Okay.
Last cadence.
Hmm.
Selima is gonna adjust her gauntlets with just as a precaution. She's not going in there looking for a fight. However, comma, won't start none, won't be none.
Period.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Very, very Black Forces energy. Here for
If
it.
you don't want to get punched in the face, don't start anything with this paladin person. That's it. That's all.
Zalima said, "FAFO is a way of life, big dog."
In an effort to just annoy Selima even more, Whisper is going to put on his gauntlets and just kind of mimic what she's doing.
So the five of you make your way into this archway, and the walls that you're walking through are thick bark. And as you like break through, you see that the inside of the banyan tree is hollow. It's hollow and it's got a central column that leads all the way up. And this seems to be entirely natural. It it doesn't look as though somebody has done this on purpose. And what you see are people, beings, spirits, angels, really, in robes of peach and cream and gold with beautiful headpieces and flowing. They're embroidered with gold filigree. And you see just beautiful creatures. Some of them are elven, some of them are firbolg, some of them are fauns, some still are clanks, dracanas, people, just spirits in general from all over the place. You even see other fungrils. You see one in specific, as a matter of fact, Luma, but give me, Luma, my dear, a knowledge roll, please.
I imagine that Zendaya is like, as she's seeing all these like pretty regal characters, that she is just like going by each one, like like bowing quickly in a way.
You see that the members of the choir, when they notice you paying them respects, they do the same to you. They give you a quick bow. Some give you nice curtsies, inclines of the head, acknowledgement of your respect.
Seeing that, Whisper will do it too.
They give you the exact same. They give you the exact same like acknowledgement of your respects. Are you doing this sincerely or sarcastically? A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Got you.
Yeah.
And there doesn't seem to be any discrepancy in the way that they're treating you. They do pay you the respects, and some even give you a nice smile. What'd you roll?
16 with hope.
16 with hope. So, who you see is a fungal person, made up to look like a pink oyster mushroom. So you see like stacks and stacks of like different like fungi, I suppose, like different mushroom fungi, and covered, and I do mean covered, head to toe, top to tip, in shimmering rot. Top to tip, gorgeous though. So pink oyster mushroom, lacy and roughly sort of edges where their appendages are, and they walk forward, and she says, "Welcome to the choir. I'm Solana. How can we help you?" And for you, actually, with that 16 with hope, be sure to take your hope. You remember who Solana is. Solana is one of the people that walked into the Nexus before you did. Only they weren't called Solana. They were just called Lana initially. So familiar but maybe not so much. What would y'all like to do?
Whisper will give a slightly more sincere bow. Um, he's kind of managing being a little bit less facetious at the moment. Um, and he'll kind of land gently and complete his little bow and hello, we've actually come to beg aid, I think. I'm actually not quite 100% sure. I'm not like the face of the group, but I just had to say hello. You're wonderful. Hi.
You see Solana, she gives you a very pretty curtsy. And she says, "Of course, we have heard, seen sort of the goings on outside. Uh, I don't really know where to begin. We entreat with the gods, but that is normally left to the director. Uh, they're upstairs if you wanted to see them." And
Okay,
you
look up.
see along the wall, there is like the room that you are in has a ceiling, right? The room that you're in has a ceiling. The top, it's another completely natural platform made of that bark, and it looks as though you're encased in a tree. But along the walls, there has been a spiral staircase arcing up, and you see a little entrance, like an opening, that leads to the next floor up. So that's what you see when Solana is referring to upstairs. She points in that general direction, and you hear that lone cellist again, in a very quiet corner off to the side, playing music seemingly for himself only.
Sure. Do we need to make an appointment? Do we just flitter on up? How does this work?
Oh, Solana gives you a smile and says, "Oh, the director is pretty welcoming. I'm sure they wouldn't mind coming to see you. They see us all the time.
Excellent.
You can head on
Thank you
up."
so much. Well, what shall we do? And he just
I
starts
think
going toward the stairs.
I think Salima is going to pause and just like kind of go closer to the cellist and
Mm.
just kind of like watch for a bit out of just curiosity of like, why are you by yourself? Obviously not
You
asking that out loud, but just like, ponder.
you see that he is sort of sitting by himself with this cello, and it when he notices you come over, they put their cello away, put it in a little uh case so that it can be, well protected and whatnot. And they pull out a book of music, and for the first time since you've been here, Zalima, you hear nothing. Pure silence. And the person looks over at you, elven person, like medium brown skin, almond shaped eyes, vaguely pointed ears, not as long as Brio's, or as pointed, so half elf. Um, and you see them looking through this book of music, and without looking up, he says, "Any requests?"
Hmm. Do you happen to know the works of trying to think of an artist off the top of my head that's not Beyonce. Uh,
Gangsta
uh,
Paradise.
actually, I know a throwback for my weebs. Canon Wakashima.
Ken and Wakashima. You see this person doesn't look up, closes the book of music very politely, pulls out the cello again, and begins to play the exact selection that you were referring to. Then finally, he looks up at you, turns hazel brown eyes onto you, piercing, striking, and he says, "This one?"
Ah, it sounds as I remember.
He gives you a winning sort of smile at that and says, "Well, enjoy," and continues to play. For the rest of my beautiful spirits, what are y'all trying to do?
Um,
I know, Whisper, you're walking up, right?
where
Whisper's like at the stairs waving a handkerchief, like, hello. They should come.
where is Cadence?
Cadence is talking to one of the choir members. You see another fawn with sort of all of the choir members have wings, soft, very like typical what you would think of an angel having, like three sets of feathery wings, but they all are tucked behind them so that they're not like batting each other around the place, because even though the banyan tree is huge and has plenty of room for everyone, they still want to be considerate, right? So you see Cadence is over there talking to one of the members of the choir, not paying any attention. He's beatboxing.
Okay. I'm going to approach Zalima. Um, and Zalima, I'm a little uncomfortable with exactly the goal is. I know that they want our assistance with repairing the scale, but I'm not really sure on how we're supposed to accomplish it. Did you find out anything more?
We did. So, and Alex, make sure to correct me on this if I forget anything.
Mm,
My understanding of what was told to us by the the archivist
mhm.
is there were ingredients that needed to be found, and then, for lack of better words, assembled together. And once they're assembled, we get the blessing of Oya, and things should be going as they should because it is necessary for us to get divine blessings for this. And because it is Oya's domain, we are going to be seeking out Oya. May she guide us in death.
Did you know that was the goddess of death?
Yes, the temple that I was a part of is an Oya temple, so I am a follower of hers, so to
Oh,
speak.
okay, okay, perfect. So I'm assuming that one of the items would be here.
I would assume so. I guess we can ask the director about that.
Okay. Should we go up together? I kind of don't want to be up there by myself with Whisper. I'm, I would rather
Completely ignoring.
I would rather we go together.
Makes sense. Do you think he may try to borrow something of yours?
Yeah, yeah.
That is fair. That is fair. She's gonna turn back to the cellist and just give like a very deep bow. I thank you for taking my request.
You see that he gives a nice incline of his head, acknowledges that, and says, "I'm always open to more."
Okay. Well, and they'll turn to start walking. All right. You can stop with the woo, yoo-hoo, yoo-hoo. You're not a yodeler.
I said it once. Or twice, maybe 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Whispers
And I
that fairy say, hey, listen. Hey, listen.
And I, there's the temptation of just like a swift kick, just a kick right there, and I feel like I would feel better, but no.
I could conjure a swatter for you.
You do see her ponder this. No, it's all right. It's all right.
Cadence, are you gonna wait down here for us, or are you gonna come with us?
Cadence like peeks up when you say his name and he goes, "Oh yeah!" Mouthful of food. There is like a craft services table on the other side.
I thought we
Mouthful
don't
of food.
eat.
Never stopped him. Never stopped him once. Eating an apple.
Eh.
Yeah, did you want me up there? Spitting. Just
No, absolutely not. You can just stay down here.
On second thought, enjoy yourself.
We should have
cool.
taken our
And
chances with
gives you
Brio.
finger guns, goes back to eating his apple.
I think I should have. I think I would have been able to handle Brio. That
Literally, Luma's thinking the same thing, like nodding in agreement.
All right, let's go.
So are y'all heading up to see the director?
Yes.
Do we pass any rooms along the way?
No, you are literally walking up the wall for all intents and purposes
Oh,
and
so
heading
okay.
into the ceiling. Mhm.
Okay.
I think
So-
Luma stays back.
You
'cause
stay
they
back?
see Lana. So
Aha! We'll come back to you in a moment. So the three of you head up the stairs to where the director's office is. And up here there's silence as well. But in the silence you hear packing, for want of a better phrase, and the three of you sort of break through the floor of this platform and head up, climb in, and you see another huge room with a ceiling, massive room inside the banyan tree. And you see the back of someone in these beautiful white robes, no wings on this person. Beautiful white robes, blonde hair, and like pale golden skin, and like long black ponytail, half up, half down, long blonde ponytail, half up, half down situation, and the tinkling of like jewelry as this person moves about the space. You see them preparing a small pack, like something to put on your back to travel with. You see them putting in pieces of jerky and like little oh geez, little like pieces of fruit and bottles of water, stuff like that. Now when you come up, how do y'all approach, if you approach at all? Are you trying to be sneaky? Are you trying to be quiet? Or do you just come barging in and say, hey, we have questions?
I walk in pretty normally.
Mm.
Uh, the what was her name again? Selena?
Oh, Zalima?
No, no, not Zalima.
Solana.
Oh,
Alana.
Solana. Yeah.
Said that they were pretty open, like an open door policy. So I'm not thinking like I'm intruding or anything. I'm just gonna kind of walk in normally and clear my throat. Excuse me.
Oh, when you clear your throat, you see them stop and then turn and look at you, and they go, "Oh, new members of the choir? How can I help you?"
Well, no. I don't sing well.
Oh, okay.
No, we were kind of sent here on errand, technically, I guess,
Hmm.
by Calypso. Did word of that come here?
Hmm. This person, you finally see their face. strong jaw, very feminine features, gorgeous, elven sort of person. Almond shaped eyes, just like Coral downstairs. Sorry, you don't know their name. But uh Whisper, you actually recognize this person. You know this person, and as you sort of like shuffle and adjust yourselves in the room, you see them see you. And jaw drops. Uh like a look of sorrow crosses their face for a moment. And then joy and then confusion all at one time. And they do not take their eyes off of you, but they answer you, Zadiah, and they say, "Right. I kind of assumed that someone would be coming to." And then finally they look up and they say, "Check on things. The gods might be able to help us with this, should be able to help us with this." And you see them, their eyes flick back to you, Whisper, and they say, "I'm sorry to see you here, but I'm so happy to see you."
I would never be sorry to see you. Um, and Whisper is having a rare moment of complete sincerity right now. Just like all goofiness, shed like a jacket.
Hmm. And you see them walk forward and hold out a hand to you. And do you take their hand?
With both hands.
Yes, they hold onto your hand very tightly and then pull you in and give you a huge hug. And they say, "My darling Whisper, it's so good to see you. What happened? How did you end up in Elysium so soon?"
I've been looking for you, and things happened as they tend to.
Mm, you see, they give you a nice warm smile and they say, "Yes, well, I understand. I I suppose I ended up here too." A sheepish kind of grin. And Quinn says to you, "Your friends, are you all here to help with the everything?" And you see they do like this little gesture toward the sky.
I
I barely
suppose.
know these people. They're not my friends. But yes, we've been sent to help with all of this, and he'll do the same gesture.
Quinn gives a very kind smile at that and says, "Ah, well, companions then. Well," and Sober Sum says, "I think it would be best if we gathered the pieces first, because if this is happening, it must mean that the scales have shattered, right?"
Yes, this little, never mind, it's not important, but it was shattered by a very anxious individual who just did a oops, I think, perhaps.
All for
Mm.
business? Wow.
Well, it might be relevant. Who knows?
Quinn gives you a little chuckle at that and says, "Yeah, I did hear that the maestro had a new assistant. News travels fast in Elysium." And they look to you and they say, "Well, I suppose I need to do my job. So, will you come with me?"
Of course.
Quinn gives you a wide smile at that. And they look up towards the actual ceiling now, and you see those spiral staircases heading up there again. And Quinn says, I should probably assemble the choir. And we see, as we pan down, we come back down to Luma and Solana. How do you approach Solana if you do?
I think first, Luma is looking just like, do I remember how they used to look like? Were they like how I used to look like? Question.
Give me a knowledge roll, and
Okay.
you can add a +2.
Okay. I am working it today. 17 with hope.
17 with hope. Beautiful. Take your
Mm.
hope.
I'm
And
at
yes, you do. Oh, you're max? Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. We love to see it. Now you can use it. Okay.
yep.
So you do remember what Lana looked like before going to see the shimmering rod. Lana Lana was and still is a beautifully tall, like about 8 feet tall. She has like rose colored skin that always looks as though it's a flower in bloom almost. Goes from creamy white all the way to a deep, deep rose color. Huge cap, a little hollow in the top, so it curves in like that, and big eyes. 2 sets now. One set that are larger than, the set above, both red. Both sets red. Very similar to yours. And now you do recognize Lana in all of the rot surrounding her. You see that they are covered in shimmering rot entirely. And you do recognize this as the person, one of the people who traveled to the Nexus before you.
Okay. So I think Luma twists in their mind, like twists, I mean, thinks in their mind, a single question to ask. And I want to go ahead and use I don't know if I'm gonna say it out loud, but I have
Mm.
that fungal network.
Mhm.
So basically you make an instant roll to speak with your others of your ancestry across. I know it's not a distance of time, but I think because of the connection with the myelin,
The
I can't even
the
say it.
mycelial connection?
The mycelia. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it one of
You gonna
these
get it.
sessions. And I have to do an instinct roll because I really want to
Mhm.
just not say it out loud, but I want to
Mhm.
just make sure that I'm telling you I am here and I want that
Mhm.
connection. So let me go ahead.
Okay. Go
See,
ahead and roll your instinct.
I need please make it a 12, please. Um 13 with hope.
Woo, barely made
I
it.
know.
Just barely squeaked by. Okay, so you do make the connection and you feel that connection with Solana. She is doing the same thing, making that same connection, meeting you, bridging that gap with you. And the two of you now have the ability, yes, to connect through that mycelial array. So you can hear her when she speaks up here. You're muted, baby.
And are they speaking as one? Oh, well, let me ask a question.
Mm.
Um, Lana oh, takes a minute just thinking of their thoughts too. What happened?
You hear when you ask what happened, when you say Lana, you see there their head kind of tilts a little in contemplation, and then they give you a small smile and say, I was reborn. I was completed, given my wholeness in the rot. And you hear this as one voice, not two separate voices, just one.
Um, is question is the other voice in me also answering? Will answer question.
You did roll a 13 on instinct. We'll call it a 15. We'll say that you added a +2.
Mhm.
The voice in your mind, it is lying dormant currently, but you can tell that it's paying very close attention.
Oh, man. Okay. Um, Luma also tilts their head and says, "Weren't you also on the mission to destroy the civil?" Like, and it kind of ends out, sputters out. What is the shimmering rot? I was told. I was told it destroys, it kills, but I wanted to figure it out how to stop it. But you're here and you are covered in it. And you look, can I make an assumption like
Mm,
happy and
mhm.
familiar with yourself? They're confused on
Sol-
that.
Solana gives you a wide smile at this, and they say, we were lied to. We were lied to. The shimmering rot is not a pathogen. It isn't a parasite. It is a blessing. It is completion.
Luma looks, I think it starts with they don't believe you first.
Mhm.
And then they have this feeling within themselves because they have come with this body that is both alien and familiar to themselves. And what they have been taught over and over that to be or touch or find this shimmering rot is death. And to hear Solana now saying completion, they are still confused of that concept. And I think they're still for themselves mulling over the idea of completion when they felt that they're a failure to complete a task that was that took their lives, what they think. So is this completion, this monstrosity, because they still think it's bad, but they seem happy. So they're going back and forth in their mind, like, are they happy? Are they lying? They seem happy, but I'm am I happy? Am I completed too? And they're just completely confused. I think Solana hears them this they don't stop talking. So this whole
Mm,
entire thing I just said is in a conversation that's going on.
mhm. Solana hears you mention the word monstrosity and kind of like chokes on a chuckle at that. And you see Solana allows you your space to contemplate, gives you a moment, and then says, propaganda is a very powerful thing, especially for people in power who want to maintain that power. Did you ever question, Luma, why our people were nomadic when there were so many of us in the core of the Shimmering Rot? Stationary, even, building a society together. Did you ever question why we were forced to walk and to travel and to not stay any place for long?
Luma looks like thinks for a moment. I in a form I did, I was confused. Why weren't we fighting something that we're supposed to be afraid of? I went to the council and I said, "Hey, like let's fight it finally. Our people are dying from it." And they did nothing. They just looked at me and this I remember that look and just repeated, "The shimmering rod is evil. We must walk."
You see Solana reads that memory of the council saying the Shimmering Rod is evil. Thus we walk, we must walk. And Solana gives you a sad kind of glance at this and says, they wanted to maintain power. How long have our people walked, heading nowhere? No direction. Only a handful of people telling us that we must. No one stopped long enough to see what was behind us. And when we stood up and were strong enough to say that we wanted to solve the problem, to fix the rot so we could finally go home, they sent us out to be slaughtered like animals.
Luma kind of I think there's an anger to this that they remember that day quite clear when they made their stand saying that they're going to leave, they're going to stop this rot and feeling like it was their funeral. Each person looked at them and was sad. Some sad and just basically sad that they'll no longer exist if they leave. Now, I think with Luna, they're thinking that that was weird, but I think the idea of helping their community overshadowed that feeling. But now that they're talking about it, they understand how people would just look at them and just go back to their daily lives like nothing happened, like they were dead already.
Solana hears this in your thought, hears the timbre of your thinking, says, that is by design, dear Luma. It is easy to fear what you do not understand. It is easier still to maintain power when you provide fear. Therefore, I blame the council.
Um, I think that in Luma's mind, they already when they had that free thought moment, it was already that of the idea that the council was done for them because they didn't do nothing. But to be cast out that way and not remembering anything happening out after that, that's what's concerning them too at the same time. They want to go back to figure out what happened, but now it's changing to who am I? When did I become this? Was I think they say out loud, was it my death at the Shimmering Rot?
Solana shakes her head at this, says, "The shimmering rod is not what killed you. That much I can say for certain. Otherwise, it wouldn't be on me, and it would have killed me. And that's not what happened to me. I was murdered, Uma. And honestly, probably, so were you." And from there, I think it might be time for us to take about 15 minutes to go be human beings. And I wanted to share something cool with you guys. This stream has been brought to you guys by our friends over at the 5 GMs in a trench coat. The 5 GMs, blah. 5 GMs is a crit award winning TTRPG actual play podcast where 5 friends take turns weaving stories through the tabletop system of their choice each season. Currently, they just finished their second season where GM Jesse ran Cyberpunk Red. And in the meantime, you can listen to GM Adam weave tales through a multiversal Spider-Verse web, a beautiful island filled with dinosaurs, or on the Strixhaven campus. And if you like fairy tales, you can catch GM Kim telling the tale of Kingdom Idalia. You can find them wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find them at 5GMs Official on Twitter and Blue Sky, and at 5GMs in a Trench Coat on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And from there, we are going to take 15 and go be human beings. And we will be back then. Bye.
Hello everyone and welcome to 5 Gyms in a Trench Coat.
Excuse me?
Yeah?
What's that?
You want to know what 5 Gyms in a trench coat is? Let us tell you.
It's the adhesive that keeps the fragile pieces of my sanity together.
Well, okay, Jesse, what it actually is a narrative-driven TTRPG actual play where 5 friends take turns weaving stories through the tabletop game of their choice.
Of their choice.
Each season?
Each season.
That's pretty cool.
I disagree.
Oh.
I feel it's the adhesive.
So, like, you guys aren't all in a trench coat?
No, we're definitely in a trench coat.
How does that work?
Get her.
Before I'm caught, you can check out 5 Gyms in a Trench Coat just about anywhere you get your podcasts, or you can check out our website at 5gymsinatrenchcoat.com. Oh my god, they really are all in a trench coat.
Hello and welcome back. Thank you guys so much for bearing with us while we went to go and be human beings. And we will dive right back into our story. So, for our dear Luma here, you hear Solana say, "You were probably murdered." And she sits down in at one of the tables that is in the banyan tree, gestures you forward to have a seat as well, and holds out hands to you. Not hands necessarily, they're like stumps really, but like wants to put her stumps up against your stumps. So y'all can stump touch.
I have fingers. I don't know what
You have fingers. Okay, so you can grab her
Was it the
stumps.
3 prongs? The 3 prongs?
The 3-pronged, yeah. Got you. 3-pronged fingers, yeah.
I hesitate for a moment and then grasp their hands. All 4.
Mhm. So what you see through the connection that you have with Solana, you see their memories. They are walking into the core of the shimmering rot where it is. And you see hundreds, thousands even of fungrel people of all shapes, sizes, colors, and creeds, different types of bases of mushrooms, all covered. They are so completely different, all of them singular in their beauty. And yet, all of them have one thing in common. As you see Solana walking through the nexus into the core of this community, into the core of where the shimmering rot begins, you see that it starts at a temple of Oya. And the temple like it's just a gazebo basically, with a nice little altar on the inside. And people come and leave like supplication to the gods. They not supplication, they provide like honorings, like blessings and offerings. That's the word I'm looking for. They provide offerings to the goddess, and from the bevy of offerings on the top of this altar, you see spread out in a star sort of pattern, not five-pronged star, just a massive star. You see the shimmering rot blooming out in all directions, all up and through this entire environment, covering the trees, covering the people, covering the flora, the fauna here. It looks parasitic. It really and truly does. It looks like a growth. And yet everyone here is operating as though nothing has changed. And you see Solana, or Lana as she was known, walk into this temple, and her stumps that they're walking on, you see the stumps picking up pieces of the rot and it beginning to creep up their legs. And as they reach forward to touch, you see it touches their stumps and begins to grow up their arm very slowly at first. And Lana spends time there for a while, tries to get clarification from the Fungrel elders who understand what this is, what this was. You see Solana in community with these elders, with the people who live here. And they explain the council has splintered from the original group of elders. Fear has overtaken them, and they speak heresy. They wish to maintain power by any means necessary, even if that power is dwindling, even if it's shaky at best. Some power is better than no power to these people. And so tread carefully, Lana, as you exit. Be very, very wary of where you step. And Lana gives a nod at this, and you hear her begin to hear another voice as the shimmering rock grows up all through her body, covers their shoulders, begins to crawl up their neck, reaching their cheeks up to their head. You hear another consciousness, another voice becoming louder and louder and louder in Lana's mind, to the point where it scared the hell out of her. And she eventually, knowing that this voice was going nowhere, began to talk to it. The voice named itself So. And gradually, as the rot began to completely overtake Lana, Lana and So became one, intertwined. And Lana and So became Solana. And in that, you found that Solana now felt this overwhelming connection to the goddess, an overwhelming feeling of power, as though she could do anything, as though she should do anything. And she emerged complete from the core of the shimmering rot, from the center of that community, and began the long exodus back to the collective garden. And before she could make her way through, as she's going through the forest, you hear like a quick shot, and it goes in and out. And Solana fell to the ground, dead. The people of the Shimmering Rot's core found her body and honored her with a funeral pyre. And she is now here in the choir, singing praises to the gods.
Damn, Alex. I had to take a moment. I think Luma, as more and more information just comes in their mind, it's just like a cacophony of information, feeling, sensation. Because I don't think that the mycelia connection was broken. So I feel like with that connection, it's like there is a memory base, but there's also the connection of the spirit and the mind and the feeling. So feeling the joy, feeling them going down, feeling the end of it all, and coming back to this moment. If mushrooms could cry, I think it would be like little shimmering the rot kind of like forms into you see in Luma's body, forms down words like in like a graceful kind of circle going up and down with the information that they're getting. And Luma finally says, they did this, didn't they?
Solana gives you a very sad smile and says it has to have been them. No one else has the incentive to do such a thing. The council is full of scared old fungrels who cling to tradition as opposed to embracing change. And that is their death knell. The final bell rings for us all, and they will not escape their destiny either. But being that your life was so callously stolen from you, you now have a choice. How would you want to proceed? You mentioned that you wanted to go back. What does that look like for you now, knowing what you know?
So I'm assuming that was my death that you were
No,
saying.
that was her death that you saw. She
Okay.
doesn't see your death, just hers.
Oh, okay. Luma says, I don't know what I want to do yet. I still don't know why. For me, I still don't know why I don't have a connection. What happened to me before I went into the simmering rot and how I died. I have no clue. there's an assumption. I think they think that this may happen, but they don't have a connection. They don't have a starting point of when they died. Well, they know and they say, I died when I entered the Shimmering Rot, and I came out being this, not my former form. So I'm confused. I don't know who I am and why I'm separated for right now. I don't know what I want to do. I'm angry and I want to go back. But I don't know how that will look.
Solana gives you a kind sort of smile at this and says, whether or not you become whole is up to you. I don't know your companion's name, but I know that they are there. And I know that you are resisting for a good reason. There was much to be afraid of. But I offer a different reality, a truer reality, where there is nothing to fear, only everything to gain. Rebirth comes for us all too. The final bell is only final in that it leads to someplace new. So, the steps you take must be your own. And in the back of your mind, you hear Fa agreeing with this. Says, you don't know how you died, but I do. I saw. From there, we will pull back for just a moment to the director. You see Whisper and Zadiah, you see the director smile down at you all. And they say, I was looking through my notes on the symphony and the gods. I think it's best that we leave Corral in charge and head to the Temple of the Gods. But we need to create the components first, yes?
Sure, that sounds about right to me.
You see Quinn calls down to the people on the ground floor, and you hear this as well, Luma. You hear, even though Quinn is not yelling, in a very soft tone, they say, it's time to sing. Let's go upstairs. And Luma, you see the members of the choir through this very soft voice straighten. Even Solana straightens and goes, the director calls. Will you come with us?
Luma says yes.
And
But I won't be singing.
Solana gives a small chuckle at that and says, no, I wouldn't think so. You have to be a part of the choir for it to work. And you guys see for you, Whisper and Zadiah, you see the members of the choir slowly but surely filing into the room, walking up that wall and heading to the third floor. And when the final choir member has walked up the stairs, you see it was Solana, you see Luma following, and the three of you convene with Quinn, who gestures that you may go upstairs, and they follow behind you. As you walk up, you see a stage and on risers. So there's stands where a choir would stand so that way everybody's face can be seen and everybody can be heard. And you see the choir members begin to stand in their, assigned spots, and you see in front of you a small, like, not like a plinth, like a dais almost, like a raised platform, and there's nothing on it. It's a raised platform of, honestly, a banyan tree, just like where that central column was in the center of the room. And on the back wall, well, there's not really walls, but you know what I mean. On the back wall, that is where you see the conductors, or the director's pulpit. And you see Quinn take their place, and they lift their hands, and you hear an angelic sound as the choir begins to sing. And you see Quinn twitches a little as a note goes off, like something is flat or too sharp, and slowly that angelic sound sort of devolves a little. And Quinn looks frustrated and says, I was concerned about that. Whisper, would you help me?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
You lose me?
For a second, what'd you say, baby?
So anything. Yeah, yes.
Quinn gives a wide smile at this and leads you forward. And they say, the information about the scale, I've not seen it. And I know that the choir can help create it, but I don't know how. Do you have information about that by chance?
Well, I have pieces of it, and he'll
Oh,
take out the shards that he has left.
you see Quinn looks down at it reverently, and reaches to touch, but then hesitates, says, would you put it in the center? He points towards the dais, um, and says to the members of the choir, we're gonna try this again. This time, focus on the scale. Members of the choir, they nod, and you see some adjusting their wings, adjusting their robes, getting themselves prim and proper so they're just so, under Quinn's watchful eye. And Quinn lifts his hands, begins again, yet another angelic note, a chord of human voices. And this time you see these shards on that dais begin to rise from where you place them and sort of kaleidoscope in and out, glow and shimmer in the light. And you, Zadiah, you feel your book go warm to the touch, and it begins to glow and shimmer in combination with the shards. And this time there is no discordant note. There is no flat sound. There is nothing too sharp. Everyone is in perfect pitch. And as you listen to this, song, you hear Quinn go, yes, this is better. And you see, all three of you, you see the shards on the dais begin to circle around one another, orbit, and move, and then grow in size. And you see the beginnings of a scale. You see the beginnings of the clefs sort of morphing in and out of one another. You see the beginnings of a bar staff. You see the time signature, and the choir is shifting, taking one step to the left, one step to the right, in time, perfectly in rhythm. And you see this scale begin to grow as the choir's voice grows and grows and grows. And finally, the final note The choir hangs on this note for but a moment and then falls silent. And Quinn slumps back in exhaustion. And you look at the dais and you see a scale. It doesn't float necessarily. It is kind of shimmering and glowing, but not the same way as those shards before, and it's not warm to the touch either. It's just there, sort of shifting amongst itself, and you see the three components laying on the dais in different iterations. And Quinn looks at you, Whisper, and says, "You think this will do?"
We have no choice but to try.
Quinn gives a wide smile at this and says, "We should go see the goddess. Aya will want to see this. Do y'all?" And then Quinn looks at the others of you, the rest of you, and looks towards you in specific, Zediah, and sees your book glowing and says, "Does it always do that?"
No, actually. And she's gonna open it this time and see if
Hmm.
anything has changed, if anything stands out.
Give me a quick knowledge roll, and you can add your philology +2. Double check here. Yeah. Add add your philology +2.
27 with fear.
27 with fear. Interesting. So you see that as you open the book has been inert for the entirety of the time that you have had it. Like, it didn't start glowing and shimmering until you died. And now here, all of a sudden, it's reacting to stimuli. And as you open the book, it seems as though the book takes on a personality of its own and flips to a specific page. And you see the writing in that cipher, but more than anything, you see a giant diagram of the scale. You got a 27, which is very high, but you got it with fear. So you are able to see the scale, understand that this is a diagram of how to put it together and like what's necessary to make the pieces fit, but you do not fully understand what the process is for matching these and matching what was broken. So you have components, but no instructions. And you get the feeling on that 27 that the instructions are here. And the book is glowing and gleaming, showing you pieces like words in specific, but they're all swimming in front of your eyes and nothing makes any sense. It's almost like dyslexia. Words sort of interweaving, letters changing themselves and moving into different spots where it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. What is this? And you see Quinn not looking over your shoulder, just observing you, says, "Huh, where did you get that book?"
It was bestowed upon me in life. I've been with it for like 7 years. Um, it's very important to my community that I figure out what's going on. But what's interesting about this is that I thought it would only affect my community, but it seems to be tied to everything here. Huh.
Quinn nods at that, says that would make sense. It's a book of the dead, a book of Oya, a book of the goddess. It's one of hers. So it would make sense that it's tied to everything, considering. And Quinn looks over at you, Luma, and gestures towards the ruffles on your arm, the pieces of the shimmering rot that are still visible there. And then looks pointedly at Solana and says, "There is much to be learned. And I think it's best that we go to the goddess so we can learn it. Maybe she can provide some insight. I'm sure she can. This is her book after all."
Yeah, I would hope she would know what it means, or at least provide me with the monocle so that I can better understand.
You see that Quinn gives a small smile at this and says, "Well, I think it's best that we journey forth. Uh, do you want to carry the scale?" And looks at you, Whisper. Would you want to carry it? I don't feel comfortable touching such an artifact."
If you trust me to carry it, I will.
Quinn gives you a gentle smile at that, says, "I trust you implicitly."
Then I'll do it.
And Quinn, like, you see the choir beginning to disperse. Solana is still there off in the periphery, and you see Corral, the cellist, is standing there as well. Quinn goes to speak with Corral and says, "I need you to watch the choir while we're gone." And Corral says, "Section leader." And Quinn says, "Yes, exactly." Corral gives a nice nod and continues down the stairs with the rest of the choir. And I will ask, how do y'all want to venture forth? You know that Cadence is still downstairs, stuffing his face, even though he doesn't need to, because he enjoys the feeling of food. Thank you very much. And so he's downstairs stuffing his beak. And you see that Quinn is peering over at the map sort of in your on your hip, Zadiah, and looking at the book. And they say you all have a lot going for you. Divinely, I mean. It's not every day that spirits come to find the chantry, let alone finding the goddess. So most are just content to go to the dance floor and stay there. And Quinn begins to lead y'all down the banyan tree, the stairs into the first floor, carrying their pack of jerky and dried fruits and water and whatnot. And they begin to walk out. What would y'all like to do?
I'm gonna grab Cadence. I feel kind of responsible for him at this moment.
Cadence allows you to take his arm. He's got handfuls of cookies, just handfuls of little black and white cookies, not Oreos, like dipped black and white cookies. And like he's cramming the little cookies into his face. He goes, "Right, we're leaving." Ah,
Yes,
sounds good.
We're leaving.
All right, all right. And Cadence begins to bop his way out of the banyan tree.
Yeah, Whisper will just gather up the scale and like shoot everybody a look like, do not embarrass me. And just kind of follow after Quinn, right at Quinn's heels, like very clingy.
Quinn allows this, is very like receptive to this, and holds out an arm for you to take and says, "Why don't you tell me what happened after I left, I mean?"
It's old news by now. I left to find, well, I was told to leave shortly after you. The village didn't really appreciate my talents the way that you did, and I joined the local circus because it was the best way to travel and see the world and find my way back to you. Um, I remember all of your stories, and there wasn't just one place that you gravitated towards. So I learned tricks, and I was quite good at it, honestly. Like, I'm not even bragging when I say that. I was just such a great acrobat. Um, and I made a name for myself, and then I found trouble before I found you. And I hesitated before I solved the problem in front of me. And now I'm here, and I can't be angry because I found you, which is the point anyway.
At this, you see Quinn's face sort of vacillates between sorrow and like feeling elated all at once. And Quinn says, I never would have wanted you to be here before your time, but selfishly, I'm very glad you are. I I served at the Temple of Oya for a very long time. That's actually how I ended up here. Hunger strike or something like that. And after years of meditation, contemplation, I heard her, the goddess, getting closer and closer. I was very lost, and she found me, so I stayed. I am so sorry that I left you behind in pursuing what I thought was best for me, best for us. I couldn't see a way that I could exist without dragging you into my shit. You didn't deserve that, and I'm sorry.
I think what I deserve is unquestioningly not what I'm getting right now. I I didn't think I had another chance to find you when I found myself here. I thought I would just dally away for eternity or whatever it is that happens here. So don't I as sorry as I know you must feel for leaving, I'm glad that you found hopefully what is making you happy and that I found my way back to you.
Quinn, like you see, they've got your hand on their arm and they take your hand and squeeze it tight as you guys move forward. And they say, I was looking for a lot. I found a lot in the temples of Oya in the world below, and found myself in the exact same place here, serving the goddess. It is my purpose, and it fills me with joy. But to see you, now that is a treat. That is something I never thought I would get again. So, I'm glad you looked, and I'm happy to be found. Truly found.
I I stole some keys from the new assistant earlier. I don't want you to be mad at me when you find out later. I'm a scoundrel now. Um, I'll give them back. I promise. I just really don't want to get in trouble later and it'd be like a whole thing. Oh no.
Quinn full tilt laughs at this, laughs out into the air very loudly, the way that they always have. And they say poor Brio is probably losing their shit. We'll have to be sure to return those.
I'll give them right back, I promise. Brio kind of sucks though, just to put it out there.
Quinn kind of giggles at that and then looks at you a little conspiratorially and says, "Well, don't we all? Just a little. It's fine. They'll make their way, same as you did." And y'all continue forward, and you see Luma as you walk forward, more and more of that rot beginning to form into a path heading in a very specific direction. And for you, Zadiah, you see your book continuing to glow and it glows very lightly at first, but as the procession of you continue forward, you, Cadence, Quinn, Zalima, and the end, Luma and Whisper, all of you continue forward. And you see that this path becomes like a road almost. It's so wide. And you're stepping into very soft mycelial earth, fungus, and it smells rich and loamy and verdant. And it feels soft to the touch. And maybe just a little slimy, but it's not bad. It's not off-putting. And you proceed forward, Quinn holding tightly to your arm, to your hands, their Whisper. And you see Cadence like bopping his little fawn self on down the road, go off to meet the wizard. He truly is. And before you, you see a tower, a huge tower, like a hall, very similar to the Hall of Resonance. Tall, rounded domes. Looks almost like, what is it, like Prague? Almost like, y'all know those buildings that have a dome, but it like points up at the top, kind of like a titty. It looks like that. So the building is tall obsidian black, and you see lightning and you hear thunder, and the sky is like ruby red overhead. None of the soft purples, even the twilight has changed here. And you hear water, or moving water. You hear the sound of a river or a pond or an ocean or a typhoon. You can't be sure, but there is water here. And you see, as you move forward, you guys are arcing up, like up an incline. And the mycelial road continues up this incline, connected to Luma's tracking. And you see this tower of obsidian black. And Quinn looks reverently towards it, but doesn't speak. What would y'all like to do?
I did want to ask a question.
Mhm.
So with all like, all the scenery and everything, I don't believe Zadiah is really paying much attention. It's very much passive. She's holding this book and she is just like, I gotta be able to, there's gotta be a word, I understand something, but it keeps ringing in her mind like this is Oya's book.
Mhm.
So she's gonna say, excuse me, Quinn, I am not per se, no disrespect to the goddess. Uh, I'm a follower of Arumila. I thought that this book would be connected to my god. Uh, how do you believe my people came into possession of the goddess's book?
Quinn gives a smile at that and says, honestly, probably through the Mila. This is the god of knowledge. right? The progenitor of all that we know, the bottom of the bottom, the answer to all questions. And in my estimations, even though I don't know the machinations of the gods, in my estimations, the information inside this book was important enough to be given to your people because it needed to find its way into the hands of somebody who would treasure it, try to understand it in the way that you have. You said you had it for 7 years. That's almost a decade. That's so much time. And
Yes.
you
I wanted to make sure that it wasn't stolen and that the goddess wouldn't be upset as we enter.
Quinn kind of chuckles at that a little and says, "No, the Orunmila, Oya, the Obishala, they are connected, all one and the same in a lot of ways. Different aspects of divinity, brothers, cousins, sisters. I do not think the Orunmila would have acted without the blessing of the goddess."
Absolutely. I do hear that families do fight, cousins and sisters and brothers and whatnot, and we are going to stay optimistic.
Quinn does give a chuckle at that and says, "There is much to be optimistic about. The goddess is." And then he takes a moment. I'm sorry, they take a moment to think. They say, not nice necessarily, but definitely kind and reasonable. Her eyes reach everywhere, in this world, the next, and the former. The same as the Orunmila and Obatala. Their eyes go on forever, so they see what we do not. I think she will be glad that someone has taken such good care of one of her relics.
That brings me comfort. Thank you.
Of course. And you see Quinn begins to walk forward toward this tower, this castle of obsidian. And you begin to hear like like a chord. It's just a chord. It's more similar to mycelial music, to fungal music, than it is to traditional music, if that makes sense. Just a drone, a nice tone, a chord, harmony. Just in by itself, singular and seemingly radiating from this castle. What would y'all like to do?
Can I say to Zendaya, was that connection ever broken?
I
The sorry,
never
go ahead.
physically disconnected it. I don't know if there's
Mhm.
a like a distance thing or hold on, let me see.
It's a target you can see, and
Okay,
it
so it was
lasts
broken.
until you shift that connection to someone else or like end it on your own. At least if
Okay.
I'm understanding that right.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm guessing that maybe the connection ended when you were downstairs and I was upstairs.
Okay.
Uh,
Um, I think as we're traveling and Luma is like going over the things that just happened and thinking, who is this other person with me, within me? Um, ask the question because before Zendaya said something very particular, and they asked them, finally looking at them, and say, Zendaya, what do you remember of me?
hmm. I remember that you used to live close by. You were very inquisitive. Um, you were a lot more light colored. Right? Still very cute. Um, you were very curious about a particular topic, um, which I did try to look into for you, along with my many other tasks of research. Um, I apologize. You all moved on before I could really dive into it with you. Um, I just remember how sweet you were, how nice you were, and how determined you were.
Hmm. I think Luma is like, huh. So you know how I look now before.
If I'm understanding the question correctly,
Sorry.
you you did not look like you do now.
Mm-hmm. But have you seen me like this before?
No.
Hmm.
Do you not know what
Luma.
happened to you?
Luma says, I have no clue what happened to me to be in what they put their hands like all their hands in gesturing how their body looks right now. I do not know what happened to make me disconnect from who I currently am. Am I currently am? Am I? Am I they? They're going now. It's very circular conversation going on in their self, like not in themselves, but they say it out loud. I remember you before, and I don't know if you recognize me as this form now. When when did you see me this way?
Hmm. It had to be a few years back. I only really recognized the name. I've never met another Luma before.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like circling around you at this point, like taking you all in. Um, and she's going to
Blushing.
she's going to like she's gonna open the pathway again and try to speak to the other voice. She's just gonna say, "Hello, is the other one there?"
You hear a soft chuckle. The other one.
I
That's
don't think you
interesting.
told me your name. I'm sorry. You guys were kind
It's
of
fine.
talking to each other.
Luma's like, should I not be in this conversation? Should I just be beside?
It's your head.
This is very disorientating.
You hear like a soft tinge of regret, almost embarrassment, sort of like chagrin is the best word. Embarrassment directed at self.
Mm.
As far the voice says, Luma never really asked me what my name is. I'm Fa.
Well, hello, Fa. My name is Zadaya. I want to know, do you know me?
Yes, I
Oh,
know you well. We were friends, or something like that.
wait a second. Um,
Pseudo
how?
popcorn eating in the
Yeah, how?
background.
Does hmm, does she pick up? Can she hear the difference in their cadence? Does she?
Yes. Mhm.
It was you.
In the flesh, or kind of.
What happened?
At this, Boss stops speaking to you and speaks directly to Luma, says, Do you really want to know?
Luma takes a moment and says, "So your name is Spa, and you
Mhm.
know what happened."
Yep.
Finally, directly. Yep. um, they say, yes. There's nothing else I'm at a dead end figuring out what I am. And you're here. And you know answers that I don't.
Mhm.
You're familiar yet alien to me in this moment. What happened?
At this, you and Zadiah, both of you don't hear Foss speaking. What you get instead is a memory. You see Fa or Luma or both? Neither? Who's to say? You see the being that you are covered top to tip in shimmering rot, ruffling and white, lacy, gorgeous, absolutely beautiful, crystalline and shining. You walk out of the forest and come across Zadiah amongst her people, sitting next to a different Okape person, long black hair, sort of like neutral tone black, like brown skin, like neutral undertones, you feel me? Not cool, not warm, but you know what I mean? So you can see them with horns that arc back and then up, pointed, completely black, like floppy kind of ears, big dangling hoops, and a nice like a headpiece almost, a dangly thing that sits right here, right atop their forehead. And they're wearing a nice hooded sort of robe embroidered with black and red filigree. And they are sitting their little fawn behind on a tree next to Zadiah. Next to Zadiah. And you, Luma, Ba, Luma, come walking out of the center of the rot where you see Zadiah's people resting for but a moment, setting up camp, as it were. And you see over their shoulders the book, a book, big book, inert, regular book, the same book that you see Zadiah carrying now. And that is your first impression of Zadiah, sitting next to another Okape person. And you hear them sort of like joshing one another, like bantering. Pick up the name Scarlet. Don't attach it to anything. It means nothing to you. And you continue forth. Your next meeting, different time. Same place, different situation. You see Zadiah still sitting on that tree, only this time you come and sit beside her. And conversation blossoms. And it is seamless, beautiful in its singularity. The two of you just click. And fast friends. You become people. You become close in whatever way that nomads truly can. And you ask questions and you get answers. And you try to understand, where was the rot coming from? What is it? Zadiah asks for a sample. You provide. Zadiah runs off into a direction to go study. Another memory. You still on the outskirts of this forest, of the core of the nexus of the rot. Zadiah comes running back, has answers. It's divine in origin. It comes from the gods. It's, I don't know, it's not bad, maybe? I need to do more studying. That's the last thing that you hear from Zadiah. I need to do more studying. You feel a pull across the mycelial array, pulling you back toward the collective garden, that instinct. I must go back to my people. And so you do. Or you try to. You walk out of the forest, far away from the trees, far away from the center of the rot, far away from Zadiah. Far enough that you think you're going to make it. You think you're going to get back to the settlement where the collective garden has taken its rest. And then, quick as a flash, your life is done. In and out. Quick and clean. Headshot. And as you're falling, you turn and make eye contact with a different fungal, a rogue, based on a button mushroom. Short, stout, pale, sort of sickly gray looking coloring, holding a crossbow. And you're gone. And you're back in Elysium. Fa says, does that answer your question?
So that's why you left.
Luma is like, I think they're overwhelmed with the fact that this information, they don't know what part of this information, why was it removed from them? Was it shock? Was it anger? Did I know this mushroom person?
You see Fa almost, you can feel Fa shaking their head, says, no, an assassin is an assassin is an assassin. You know that there was foul play. Somebody didn't want us coming back with the truth. I don't know why you forgot. Trauma sucks and takes memories. So maybe that's why. You never asked, so I never told. Maybe you weren't ready to hear it then. Either way, I held the secrets, kept them all for you. Until you were ready.
I think Luma is, maybe that's the reason why they separated. Cause they maybe knew the truth, maybe not. It was just so shocking, so visceral, that it was easy to just remember the propaganda than understanding the truth. And they sit there kind of, even when how joyous Fa sounds, there's a feeling of deep, like, sadness. And I think with that sadness, it's to a point that is very unavailable silence. Remembering their fate and remembering wanting to go back. And still kinda want to go back because they want they need to put on some dukes, okay? Okay, but now it's like, is there a way to fix it? Even in their depths of despair right now. And they ask Fa, that I know now, what is our name?
You feel a wave of joy when you ask that question. Faluma. We're Faluma. If you want to be.
Luma is like, they still are affected by this. They're you can feel on their side of the corner contemplating depression, sadness, and wanting to bridge that gap, but maybe not just ready. But they know now that there is something here that understands. And I think they're not in a moment where they're saying like this is me just yet, but this is they acknowledge that there's someone who can acknowledge what has happened, the pain, and being a person who holds that pain for them is somewhat comforting for them. But they're quiet. They hear they kind of, I think they put their presence to Zendaya and ask why did I question the slips out my mind? But asked so what they're saying here, the divinity, the smell, the supposed smell of divinity they smell. Is there, can I like perceive that the other god you're talking about, that's their god? Or is it just another god? Yes.
You can give me a knowledge roll.
Okay.
And see what you know.
I got an 18 with hope. I am just overflowing with
racking
hope.
it up. Period.
I can't rack up anymore. So what?
No, that's fine. But what that does mean, you do get information, however. And Ormila, that's not the first time you've heard that word, that name. This is something Zendaya perhaps confided in you at one point while you were all studying together, looking through the archives, trying to understand what was inside of this book. Zendaya never gave you the book, but it was something that was mentioned in passing, probably, yes.
Luma says to Zendaya, I'm sorry that I pretended to forget you, my friend.
Zendaya is very happy in hearing that. She does not make friends easily, and it's okay. It's okay. I was a bit of a passenger there. Do I still call you Luma?
Luma considers this and says, for now, I don't have, I think they are still on the fence about it. So they're trying to like, I need to talk with not Luma, Boss some more to bring back a connection. The idea of being complete is foreign to me. Foreign? New? Not new? I don't know what happened, the separation of us. Saying us too. The separation of us. Luma for now.
Zendaya is gonna step closer. And
Luma's gonna back up. a second.
For
a second. We don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going
on. You seemed very sad. What was your favorite flower again?
I think their favorite flower. I'm gonna say a comparison with a papyrus rose.
I want to do an illusion of a field of those flowers. I'm gonna have to
Ooh.
roll for it though.
Okay. Illusion. Go ahead and make your spellcast roll, boo.
Okay.
Yeah, that should be good. I just had to make sure that you didn't add anything else.
So Zadiah's gonna like crack her fingers there a little bit and say, uh, 18 with fear.
18 with fear. That passes just the same. And you see a field. You said papyrus rose?
Alex, I don't know if it's real, but I know there's a flower that looks like papyrus.
Okay,
So
okay. So I had to make sure that it wasn't a thing. So, all right. So what you see field. You see a field of lush flowers, big, tall, reaches like where your knee is, sprouting up and out, and it bows. The petals fall down and touch the side of it. The stamen pops up, and there are puffs of rose scented air as these flowers begin to blossom from where Zadiah is standing at the core, all the way around her, encircling you in this glorious field of papyrus rose. Colors purple and blue and red and a deep, deep pink. And a very creamy sort of white. The stamens pop up all white. The pollen is green and fills the air around you as these flowers sway in a breeze that isn't actually there. They stand up to the battering of the rain, and they seem to glow almost in the light of the red sky. You see leaves sort of sprouting out in little thorns on the stems of these flowers. Beautiful, but protected. And they blossom from around where Zadiah stands.
Zadiah holds out her hand and says, "We're friends once more."
Can I add, because I have an ability called Wild Touch? I know this
Yeah.
is a illusion. Is it illusion
This is
or
this is
It's an
illusion.
illusion.
can I for a little spice, okay? A little
A little
spice,
spice.
okay? I have this ability called Wild Touch. You can form harmless, subtle effects that evolve nature at will. So, cause the
Mhm.
flower to bloom rampantly, summon some slight gust of wind, start a
Mhm.
campfire. I
Mhm.
think there is a memory of them creating illusions together in this moment with flowers, and that's when um that's when I think this is the core memory. Faluma told them about their favorite flower, and with how the thorns are and how the beauty of the flowers is, they spores, like they put their hands, like when you're trying to reach out for their hands, their hands are palms up, spores come drifting out of it because everyone smells it. Y'all gonna get little effects of it.
Mhm.
So there is an effect that in this moment the flowers are very much real. There is a slight breeze. The smell of the flowers are coming off of them. Like you describe it as a sweet smell. Like you can literally taste it like a second, like a third taste. I don't know, but
Mm.
you could tell that they are sprouting, like the dust, like you could feel the smell of the earth and the winds shimmering through everything. And they say to Zendaya, "I remember this, my friend." And I think they do take your hand.
Yes.
You all have been slowly but surely walking towards this castle of obsidian. And Quinn has left you to have your moment together. But as the group of you reconvene, you see Cadence shoves the last black and white cookie in his big ass mouth and like chews, swallow, says, "Think we made it, guys." And points towards the castle and says, "That way." And from there, we will close this chapter of the Discordant Note. Oh, ribbity crap. Hold on one second.
Good.
I know the role play was so good. It was so good. So
You good over here?
embedded.
So, okay, let's go around and introduce ourselves again. Let's give some outros to the people here. Let's say goodbye, at least for this week. And yeah, let's do that. I will start with Satinius.
Hey, I'm Satine Bonnet. Pronouns my name and they. I am with Batty Bards, the all black, all trans, all queer, ass shaking. I know you said that at the beginning too. Podcast and where our current campaign is Echo. You can find me over there. And also next week I will be on BIPOC Vampire 2024. And I will be in the game called Slay the Vampire. Vamp Slay the Interview? Yes, Vamp Slay the Interview, in which I will be playing Sonny Baptiste. A very happy Dembo. And I'm gonna I'm gonna switch up. I'm gonna switch it up. Sweet coat. That's what I'm gonna go next.
Thank you. Perfect. I am Sweet Coat. Again, she, her. I played Zendaya, the fawn. I don't think I said her name at the first time. So her name was Zendaya. If you want to see more of me, I will also be doing BIPOC. My game is going to be on the 22nd. It's called A Phantom Kiss. Also, on my socials, which are my name, Sweet Coat, you can find links if you want to donate to the Sickle Cell Association. That's what we're raising money for as well. But yeah, A Phantom Kiss. We're on Sunday on the YouTube for BIPOC Fan Day. Oh, I'm sorry, and I forgot. And I'm gonna popcorn over to the amazing RJ.
RJ, you mute.
You're muted.
Yeah, you muted still.
Uh-oh. What happened with their mic?
No.
Ooh. No, because you're not muted in the thing, but you are muted just the
Are
same.
you muted on your headset, maybe?
Uh-oh.
Mm-mm.
Okay. But it's okay.
We still can't hear you. But we see you in spirit.
We
do.
see you. We see
I
you.
feel
you.
it.
We
I
see you.
feel it.
Oh, is the mic off?
Okay.
There you are.
Oh, there you are.
We have returned.
Yeah.
I had to switch up my audio source, so maybe my mic died. I don't know. Sorry about that. But I am RJ from TV. I have been they, she. I've also been playing Whisper in this game, and I'm also going to be, if you want to catch me in another game, in BIPOC Vamp League with Sweet Coat in A Phantom's Kiss. I'll be playing Edie Taylor. And if you guys want to donate, it would seriously mean so much. It's a really great charity and a really good cause. And otherwise, you can find me at RJ from TV on my socials.
And me. Hello, hi. I am Alex. I've been your storyteller. I use they, them pronouns. And I will sort of shout out some of the things that I'm doing. I am the GM and executive producer of Batty Bars. We are doing the campaign Echo right now, our gay ass space opera. It's super dope. So come check it out. We actually just released an episode yesterday. Today is Saturday, right? Yeah, yesterday. And I will also be in BIPOC Vamp Day. I think all of us here are. I think I will also be in BIPOC Vamp Day. My campaign was run by a bomb ass GM, truly. I played Pixie Fangborn. I'm going to be in the Midnight Masquerade. It shows up on YouTube on Saturday from 3:30 to 6:30, if I'm not mistaken. So by all means, come and check us out. We had a blast and we cannot wait to share the story with you guys. Please go ahead and donate if you can and share if you cannot. So that way, other people, you never know who's going to see what. So, thank you guys so much for coming and chill with us today on the Discord note. And we will see you next week, same bat time, same bat channel for more Chapter 3. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Okay.
Bye.